A very good morning, my class 10 students. So, here we are on our second lecture from a chapter Heredity and Evolution, and I'm again going to tell you many interesting things about the heredity. Right? We talked about genes. Right? We said that we talked about heredity and inheritance. We said that genes, they are the unit of heredity through which the characters or the features, they are transferred from parents to the offsprings. There are few changes due to which because of which the offsprings or the children, they are not identical to their parents, right? So in general, if you observe a child or you observe yourself, you have all the basic characteristics which a human being has. But there is a you resemble to your parents in some characters, but still you look different from your parents, right? So basic character, basic design, that is given to you by your parents. So the characters, the features that are seen in an individual, height, facial features, they are called traits. Now children, please, here many of you, they are confused that traits, what is a trait? See, if height is coming into you, how is it coming? Through the genes, right? If the genes will be there which are coming from your parents, only then you are showing the height, you are showing that character. So height doesn't mean कि जो हमें दिखाई दे रहा है, which is only we are able to see. No, it has genotypic characteristic also. Genotypic means at the gene level, and if you just observe it from outside, then we will say that is a phenotypic characteristic, right? So in a genetics, in this study of heredity, we will take both genetic features as well as the phenotypic expression also. But I'm not going to right now going to talk about genotypic and phenotypic. I don't want to confuse you. Only my purpose is to tell you that all those characters, they are, you are able to express them because of the genes, because of the genes which are coming from your parents. The characters which you are able to show, the characters which are appeared, those are traits, right? So traits, they are inherited. If they are inherited from the parents, they will be known as inherited traits, right? Suppose I give you very common example, calligraphy. Few students, few people, they write very beautiful handwriting. Now this is a trait, right? Beautiful handwriting or handwriting is a trait. Now, will you call it inherited trait? No, no. This is an acquired trait. So, any feature, any characteristics, if it is coming from the parent, if it is biological, if it is involving genes, then the word inherit will come. It means you have inherited it from your parents. But if you have learned it from the environment, then you will call that trait as the acquired trait. Is it possible कि a swimmer who is very good, suppose you are very good in swimming, it is not necessary, bacha, that your parents, they are also good in swimming, right? You have learned that characteristic, you have learned this feature from the environment, right? So trait is any characteristic, any feature which is shown by you. Okay, so don't get confused that what is a trait. It can be come from the parents, and if it is coming through the parent, if any characteristic, your height, your hair color, then if I say your eye color, your skin color, your chin shape, right, your nose shape, your ear shape, if these characteristics they are coming from your parents, then we will call them as a inherited traits. Now, what is the rule of inheritance of such traits? Because both mother as well as father, they both are involved, so both the parents they equally contribute to the genetic material of child. And you are now very much confident to know this point, because you know that 23 chromosome from mother, 23 chromosomes from parents, they are transferred to a child, and then it becomes 46 in number, right? So equally contribution of chromosome is there from the parents. And now comes another new point for you. Each trait have two versions in each child. And now what is this? Right? Each trait. I will I will tell you a very simple example here. Suppose I am talking about height. Suppose I am talking about height, right? Now your mother's height is different, your father's height is different, right? And height is expressed by gene called t, but we never write genes in a single way. We write two letters because genes are expressed in the form of, they have alleles, because they are in the pairs. Now mother, suppose it she is having capital T small t, and father is having capital T, right? So now those which are dominant, they will come into you. Suppose now there are the chances कि mother से small t आए, father से capital T आए, right? So the height of you will be definitely will be tall. How it becomes, how this capital T only come, that we will take in the few minutes. So just leave it aside. I will take it in a few minutes with you, that how this capital T and small t they will travel. But my purpose is to tell you that every gene क्या है, trait क्या है, height. So every trait has two versions. It can be capital T, it can be capital T, it can be small t. But always every trait has two versions in each child. And one comes from father and one comes from mother. So to understand these two versions, I am taking you to the a very important scientist's work, which is known as the father of genetics also, and that scientist is known as Mendel, Gregor Johann Mendel. He worked very beautifully in the science of or a branch of science which deals with the genes. He worked on garden pea plant, and pea plant का जो scientific name है that is Pisum sativum, and he worked over a period of 8 years. He was the one who actually gave us the idea that how this mechanism of transmission of characters from one generation to another takes place. Very confidently we say that there is the passing of traits or the characters from parents to offsprings. But who gave you that idea? That was our scientist. This is the Mendel. Because of his work, because of his contributions in the field of inheritance and expression of traits, he is known as father of genetics. He is known as father of genetics. He was the first one who explained the mechanism that how characters they transmit from one generation to another. He was the one who introduced the concept of gene. These genes, they were not initially called as the gene. He called them as the factors. According to him, factors, they were the basic unit of heredity. But then there was the another scientist who gave these factors a name which you call these days as a gene, right? But the concept of genes, the concept of factors, that was introduced by Mendel. Okay, so if what was his experiment, what was his work is all about. And you people know that I told you that he worked on the pea, right? He worked on the Pisum sativum, and he selected this plant. But why he selected? Definitely this question will come into your mind, that why he selected this plant only as for his experiment, right? See, scientists always prefer to work on those area in those with those things which are easy to handle, which are easy to maintain, or which can be studied in a short period of time. Same happened with this garden pea plant. The one very advantage of using this plant is it has a very short life cycle, राइट मतलब लाइफ साइकिल मीन्स कि रिप्रोडक्शन जो है बहुत जल्दी कंप्लीट हो जाता है. यू डोंट नीड टू वेट फॉर ईयर्स, right? It hardly takes a few days or weeks. So it was possible. So you can imagine that if this is your parents, then the next generation you can study, then after 1 week there will be next generation ready. So many generations in a very short time period can be studied. And generation क्यों study करना ज़रूरी था? Because he gave us the idea that how the characters, how the traits, they are passing on from one generation to the another, or how these traits, they are passing from parents to the offsprings, right? So he took this pea plant because of its short life cycle. Then this pea plant shows few very well defined characteristics, like height was very well defined, flower color was very well defined. So he chose 7 best characters of this pea plant for his work, right? He choose those 7 well defined characters which were shown by pea plant for his experiment. Then the flowers of garden pea plant, they are bisexual. I think my each and every child knows that what is bisexual, right? It means male and female, either they are on the same plant or they are in the same flower. But in garden pea plant, they were in the same flower and they get mature at same time. He did not there was no time, there was no reason for the wait कि उसको कि पहले मेल मैच्योर हो रहा है then female is getting mature. No, they were getting matured at same time. So basically self pollination as well as the fertilization was very easily possible. Even in the few pea plants, he did the cross pollination also. That was also easily to maintain. Mendel selected, I told you that he selected 7 best traits or features of pea plant for his experiment. I will give you a table which will solve your so many questions, which will solve your so many doubts, right? And why he selected these? Because they were easily observable, right? These 7 characters, they were very beautifully observable in all the pea plants. And last is that it is easy to handle, it was easy to maintain, it was easy to raise, and it was easy to make the results. So that is why he chose this pea plant because of short life cycle, because of its well defined features, because it is bisexual, so self pollination as well as fertilization was very possible, and the it was easy to raise, easy to handle, and easy to maintain. Now, before I give you a table of those 7 best characters, there are few terms which you need to know about the heredity terms. First, we were talking about gene continuously, and I will not talk in very scientific manner here. I will talk very straight with you that till now the gene is very clear to every point of view, to each one of you. What is the gene? It is a functional unit of heredity, right? Because this is the one through which characters are transferred. If I ask you at molecular level, molecular means अगर आपको बॉडी में बताना हो how it does a gene look like. It is made up of DNA, right? It is made up of DNA and proteins. So basically it is a segment of DNA, right? It is a segment of DNA. Then now you have to little bit go back, and if you recall your chapter, that is how do organisms reproduce, I gave you idea that we have A, T, G, C, T, right? These kind of sequences on the DNA. So basically gene is what? Gene is what? It is made up of your DNA, which is having few sequences, right? So, and it is why it is most important for us, because it determines your biological character. It is coming into you from your parents. So that biological identity, it is shown by these genes, right? So functional unit of heredity is known as basically it is a gene. Now, whenever we say gene, it is never ever we say that it is alone. There is an alternative form of a gene. Suppose now here I'm taking example जो मैंने पहले लिया था. I'm taking the same example. Suppose height. Okay, suppose height. Now height, it can be tall, it can be dwarf also. Okay, it can be tall. Trait I'm taking here is height. It can be tall, it can be dwarf. Height is represented by a gene. A gene is always having 2 copies, because see, a gene is height, character is height, right? Trait is height, और उसके लिए एक gene जो है that is represented by T, but that is coming from your father also, and that is coming from your mother also. So it is having 2 forms, and these 2 alternative forms of a gene, these are called alleles. Sometimes we will call it as a copies, right? These are the copies. 2 copies. One copy come from mother, one copy come from a father. So alternative form of a gene, it is known as alleles. An individual always have 2 alleles of a gene, right? And 1 allele come from each parent. If the alleles are same, suppose capital T is coming from mother, capital T is coming from father, this kind of condition is known as homozygous, right? Both the alleles are same. Can you find any difference? No, both are same. Even it can be small t also, then the child will be definitely short in the height if the small t will come, right? If the alleles are different, suppose from mother it is coming capital T, from father it is coming small t, then it will be known as heterozygous. देखो, homo means same, hetero means different, right? So ratta nahi lagana hai. You don't need to put a rote learning. Just remember the words, right? Just try to understand the words. Homo, same alleles. Hetero, different alleles. Dominant trait. Now, what is a dominant trait? If I say dominant, right? Okay, an allele. There are two alleles. An allele which is able to express itself even in the presence of other allele of a gene, then it is known as dominant. It is represented by always capital letter. An allele which is masked by other allele of a gene, it is known as recessive. For this, I want to give you an example of dominant and recessive. Okay, in your class there are 40 students. Okay, there are 40 students, and now all the 40, they sometimes do not give answers, but there are 2 or 3 or 5 children, suppose, they give answers regularly, right? Regularly they give answer, and very frequently they give answers. And when they give answers, the others, they are not able to express. Others feel, oh no, कि बाकी other children, they will make fun of them, right? They will laugh on them, so they are not able to express. So those children which are able to very frankly, very confidently, they are able to give answers, they are able to express themselves in the class, they are dominant, right? And others which just sitting in the class, they are only listening, they are not expressing themselves, because when they will not give answer, the teacher will never be able to learn. The teacher will not be able to able to know that they have understood or not. So those who will not expressing, they will be known as recessive, right? So basically the gene has two alleles. Okay, it can be these type of alleles. I am taking height. So out of this, only one will express, right? And that allele which will express, it is known as dominant. And that allele which is not expressing, it is called recessive. And remember that we always write dominant with the capital letters and recessive with the small letters. Then I put a very new word for you, that is homozygous. So now I am saying that suppose height is a character and there is a mother, there is a father, right? Mother is having capital T, father is having capital T, small t. Now there are chances that this combination will come in the child. There are the possibility. There is a possibility that mother give capital T, father will give small t. Now the child will be capital T, small t. But who is dominant? In this case, who is dominant? That is your capital T. So who will express? Who will express? Capital T will express. The child's height will be tall or will be dwarf? Tall. Definitely it will be dwarf. Definitely it will be tall. Now comes to the another case. There is a mother, because mother can give only capital T. So capital T, from father there will be the capital T. Same situation. From mother there is the capital T and small t. So there will be there are the same chances that there can be capital T, small t, or there can be capital T. In both situations the child will be tall. But if in a child small t will come from the father and mother, that child will be dwarf or short in height. Can you tell me why? Because capital T is for the tall character, right? And small t is for the short. It is the tall dominant trait. Tall is the dominant trait and short is the recessive trait. Okay, so Mendel gave us 7 very best characteristics of the plant, and he gave which one is dominant, which one was recessive. Recessive means which were not very commonly found and which was not able to express itself much. So first he took it, discussed, or he studied height, right? He said there are two two alleles for the height, right? For the height gene there are two alleles. One is the tall, one is the tall and one is dwarf, right? For tall there can be tt, there can be small t and there can be capital T small t. So he said either the plant will be tall, if it is a tall, that is a dominant trait, or the plant can be dwarf. If it will be dwarf, so that is a recessive trait. So then he studied the second trait, that is the flower color. He said the purple flower color, if you are observing, that is a dominant trait, and white, the white one is, I have made it with the yellow because white will not be, you will not be able to observe this. So this is white actually. So white is the recessive one. So now what is the help? What is the help? See, when I am saying tall is dominant, so I will write it with the capital T. When I am saying the other plant is having short, I will write it with the small t. Always you have to take the letters for the dominant ones. Like in the height, tall is dominant. So I have taken T, right? I have not taken the small t. Flower color. So what will be my abbreviations? What should I take? Purple, right? Purple. P will be there. Capital P is dominant and small p means white because that is recessive. Then he studied the pod color. Pod color क्या होता है? Pod आपने P देखा है, right? Every one of you must have seen P. तो उसका जो pod का color होता है, what is the mostly common P you observe? That is the green. Hardly there is anyone with the yellow color. So green, for green pod we will take G and for yellow we will take small g, because recessive को हमेशा small लेना है. You cannot write capital G small y. That is wrong abbreviation. जो आपने capital में लिया है उसी का small letter recessive के लिए use होगा. That letter which you have taken, capital letter which you have taken for the dominant, its recessive will be always the small letter. Now, seed shape. Either the seed shape, mostly when you observe P, mostly they are round shape. Hardly anyone is wrinkled. So round, I will take R, and for wrinkle there will be small r. Seed color. Mostly, now the dominant, they said seed color, they are the yellow one. Now you people will say, ma'am, usually though we have seen the yellow color, right? Usually we say that it is the green in color, right? But green, he said that it is the recessive trait. He said yellow color, yellow seed color is the dominant trait, right? So yellow seed color and Y will be for green. Flower position. He said the dominant is that many of them will be from the sides. Axillary position. They can be here on the sides, here on the sides, right? On the sides. And the terminal means at the tip, at the base. Very few will be at the base. Otherwise, they will be normally, they will be from the sides, okay, they are present on the axial position from the side. Terminal जो बिल्कुल end पे है, that will be very less. So axillary position, that is dominant, and terminal will be or recessive. Pod shape, usually जो healthy those healthy pea pods क्या होते हैं, those on which the inside which seeds are present, right? If this is a pod, inside it seeds are present. So mostly these seed pods, they are inflated, फूला होना, राइट बहुत कम होते हैं जो पिचके हुए होते हैं. कॉन्स्ट्रिक्टेड इज श्रिंक बेसिकली, दे आर रिसेसिव वन. सो बेसिकली द इन्फ्लेटेड वन इज द pod shape and it is dominant one, and very less, that is the constricted. So now you cannot use here C, ma'am, we are using C. That will be wrong. You have to use the abbreviation only which is your dominant, right? And these are for your recessive. So capital T, tall, dwarf, purple, white, then green, yellow, round, wrinkled, then yellow, then green, axillary, terminal, and inflated and constricted. So these are the 7 traits which should be on your tips. If you want to understand my next lecture, in which I'm going to tell you the short tricks to draw the monohybrid and dihybrid cross, which is for sure every time it is asked in the exam. So please go through this table very carefully. It is not very difficult for you to understand. I will meet you in my tomorrow's lecture with the very interesting tricks to draw. I will teach you how to draw the monohybrid and dihybrid in just 5 minutes.